welcome back to my little channel here. I said I would never make a video with people home, but my mother is home. She had a procedure done today at the hospital. She's fine, but pretty knocked out. So I'm gonna try to be bubbly. I don't know what these hand motions are again. But I'm gonna try to be louder and not so reserved like I was in my last video when someone was home. Why am I telling you this? Well, now you know. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to talk about pronouns. I don't want to talk about my pronouns necessarily. They're sort of intertwined in it, but it's not really the story of how I chose my pronouns. It's more the story or the explanation for why I'm afraid to tell you what my pronouns are. A bit of backstory as to why I wanted to make this video. I was thinking about doing the gender tag. If you've not heard of it, it's basically like any other YouTube tag, except the questions revolve around gender and revolve around expression of gender. The first and second question of the gender tag are something like, how do you identify and what pronouns honor you? Clearly I've watched a lot of gender tag videos because I know the questions by heart. And I also know that the reason I don't do the gender tag every time I think maybe I should do this and I stop myself is because of that second question. The first one I feel pretty confident in answering now. I identify as trans masculine. I like the term trans masc more than I do like trans guy, but that pretty much almost synonymous. It also incorporates a little bit of non-binariness, which I like. If you'd asked me a few months ago to say that on camera and put it online, I wouldn't have done it. Now I'm comfortable saying that, but still not quite comfortable saying my pronouns. The reason for that is because I really found a comfy, wonderful, sweet home online in the lesbian community. I've never been a lesbian ever. I've identified as such, but I have never been one. It was a very femme-centered space. So I came out as Jack before I came out as anything else. And every single time I came out to someone and said my name, I felt like there was sort of this ... Everyone was thinking, okay, what does that mean? Are you going to tell us you're a different gender? Are you going to tell us your pronouns have changed? Are you going to tell us this and that? And I always just said, my name is Jack now. Let's get burritos. Or something like that, because I really didn't want to come out as anything yet. Even though I've known for a long time that word, my name, did not just happen out of nowhere. It comes from being trans and it comes from being trans masc, and I know that. I've always known that. But I'm really, really scared. I'm really scared of identifying too far from androgynous, gender neutral, or non-binary. Not that those words all mean the same thing. Plenty of times they don't, and plenty of non-binary people identify as trans masc or trans femme or appear binary-ish, whatever, you know. Non-binary does not have a rule book. Nonetheless, I feared seeming too masculine. They, them pronouns were really working for that. I know a lot of people who look at people who go by they, them, and if they're AFAB, they sort of just think of that as an extension of butchness. I know so many people who think of they, them pronouns that way. And even if they respect them, know that they still think of that word, non-binary, more as an adjective than an identity. So maybe it describes their androgyny, or maybe it describes how they act. I don't, that's a whole other conversation, whether the words can be adjectives or not. But for me, identifying just as my name and leaving that question out there, like what are my pronouns, what is my identity, without really addressing that, I felt like I could still be accepted and still be okay in this space. And I'm really worried that if I announce that my pronouns are different, or if I even say that I'm trans masc online, which, well, we got there, but I'm still worried about it. I'm still super worried that it's not going to be perceived well, that the community I've built won't support it. And I know that there are tons of online communities that really support FTM people or trans masc people. I know that that's a really wonderful place to be on the internet sometimes. I've been on that part of the internet for years. But the community that I have, they're mostly cis lesbians. I feel weird there now. Anyway, I wanted to make this video talking about that fear because I don't know if I've ever heard somebody say that they were afraid to say their pronouns. Changing my pronouns has really altered a lot of things already. It alters every relationship almost, or at least every important relationship. It changes the dynamic of groups when not everyone is on a femme scale. It really messes me up. I think even as queer women, there's so much pressure to be feminine. And so when you realize that you are not even female, that sort of tears that apart in a way that you feel. So it doesn't really tear that wall down and say, now you have the freedom to be masculine. For me, to some extent, it did. Actually, like for sure, to some extent, I took that step and gave myself the allowance to be masculine and to do the things that I wanted to do. But I definitely felt it. I definitely felt that wall come down and topple over and bruise. Now I can completely see it. I can completely see the times where I pushed myself to be a more feminine queer woman, because that's what we see. There aren't TV shows with couples that have a masculine queer woman at the center. They're always very femme women, and those are the relationships that get supported. That's what's on Carmilla, that's what's on Winona Earp, that's what's on all these shows that I like. I like those ships, and I'm glad they exist, but there is nothing out there in terms of representation for non-binary people or androgynous people or butch women who are in relationship. It looks like masculine people, unless they're men, masculine people can't fall in love. Or that they don't exist. As much as I know logically that that is not true, that is so deeply ingrained into me that I have a hard time admitting to you that I have that masculinity inside me, because I'm afraid that means that love will disappear from my life. This is such a rambly video, but it's just a topic that I thought I should talk about. I don't know if anyone else fears this or hates being asked what their pronouns are, or fears changing them, or what have you. But anyway, that's where I am right now. All I can really say for certainty online is that she, her is out for me. Still scares me to say that, because I know some people were still thinking of me that way, and I know that since I've changed it, people will think of me differently. That's my video. That's all I wanted to ramble and chat about today. Got fears, and now you know about them. Yeah, I hope this reaches some of you, and I hope that maybe someone can relate. I don't hope you relate, but I imagine that someone can. And I guess I would just say, if you're a queer woman in a community of queer women, I hope that when you are building the foundation for that community, you think about the non-binary or trans people that either are in that community or are there and quiet and identifying as queer women themselves. There's so many spaces that are built, and they don't feel exclusive when you're in them as a queer woman, but then you transition and you realize how exclusive they are to non-binary people, to trans masc people, to lots of folks. There are a lot of spaces where I feel like now I need to be quiet. And to some extent, I understand that, and I respect that female spaces should exist, but I think there's a balance that could be better found in these queer spaces, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you watching. I know I've worn this shirt like in 20 videos. I do own more than 4 shirts, and someday I'll see them. Have a good one.